What did you pick, Josh?
I picked Bernie's Tail in My Face, and it was
amazing.
100% out of 100%. I picked what is the movie actually called? Because there was multiple titles of it. Stomp, Shout, Scream, aka Monster Beach Party, aka Monster Beach Party A Go-Go.
Yes. I think that all checks out.
That checks out.
Yes.
That covers the 3 different titles of this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's
released in 2005 and 2009.
Right.
Yeah, this is the 2009 release on DVD.
And set in the 1960s.
What I loved was
1966.
Okay, yeah, because are you reading that on the back of the box there?
Cool retro popcorn movie set in 1966, featuring an all-girl rock band. The Legend of the Skunk Ape, not the name of the band. This is just worded strangely.
Although that'd be a good name for a band, by the way.
That's an album title.
Florida Everglades version of Bigfoot.
Right.
And a beach party.
There was no beach party in the movie.
Well,
no.
I mean, wasn't the
it was a mechanic shop party?
But wasn't the mechanic shop on the beach?
It was near the beach. But then they said you can't have the party on the beach.
Oh, right.
So then they had it in front of the mechanics
because the beach is closed down.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the red tide.
The red tide's killing everybody.
What?
Yeah.
They shut down the beach.
What?
You have to get off the beach.
What?
Yeah, that's what
Put
they
your
did.
transistor radio down.
What?
I'm sorry, the beach is closed. You can come back in a day or two. What? You have to go. The beach is closed. We can't have anyone getting sick from the red tide. It'll just be for a day or two. What? The beach is closed.
But so what I love about the title, right, is that literally within the confines of the film, that at the beginning it said Monster Beach Party, and at the end it said Stomp, Shout, Scream. Like it literally had 2 different titles on the actual
And nowhere
film.
does it say a go-go except on the box.
Exactly.
Art.
Yeah. The go-go part, they were just like, just a little extra zing, just to sell it. Maybe this will move a few more copies if we just throw a go-go on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mostly went by the title of the movie and just... I was expecting something like Psycho Beach Party.
Sure.
Maybe in some way.
I wonder why.
Should I unpack my bongos? I intend to unpack mine.
All right, guys, come on. That's enough.
What the hell is that?
Because there's Beach Party in the title.
Right.
The cover itself just seemed so bizarre.
Yeah.
It has this fuzzy butt wearing a pink thong with a dollar bill tucked into it.
Are you serious? I haven't actually looked at this.
Yeah, you have to look at it because
I didn't notice the dollar bill.
Look, it's like a strip. It's like a stripper gorilla.
yeah.
What? Okay.
So I was just completely fascinated without even reading the synopsis.
Well, how could you not be? How could you not be? I think that, I think the A-Go-Go definitely worked on you, I mean, who knows? I guess you can't prove a negative, but I guess we'll never know if you would have actually purchased this if it did not have the title A-Go-Go. But what do you think was the number one selling thing? Do you think it was the dollar bill stuck into the thong of the furry creature?
No, that was probably the last thing that I saw.
Okay.
Was the first thing that you saw this dog in a hula skirt?
Yeah, and then there's the
Is
dog
it
in the grass
movie at
in
all?
the grass skirt, which is not in the movie either.
What? That dog is definitely not in the movie, yo.
I was really just expecting like just a full on beach party where they were maybe stuck on the beach, or it'd be one of those things. A beach party would be large enough to where people would sneak away and go make out.
Right. Yeah.
Behind the bushes.
Well, there's usually more people involved in parties.
Yeah, we had a whole cast of maybe 20 tops.
Including mostly extras.
A lot of walking on the beach. They really stretched the walking on the beach They got their mileage out of that.
Boy, they did. Yeah. There was there until like I guess the very, very end, was there a single attack, like actual monster attack in the entire film?
Not on camera.
Right. That was one of the things I thought was just so fascinating. It was like you would see like dead bodies, but there was a whole lot of standing around talking about the was it Skunk Ape?
Skunk Ape.
Yeah. So what is really the number one rule in a visual medium such as this? Mm-hmm. Show don't tell.
Yeah.
What did they do a hell of a lot in this?
Yeah.
They told but didn't show.
Big
Told
time.
a lot.
Big time.
Yeah.
They told a whole lot, and they showed a whole not lot.
Now, if we want it, obviously this is a somewhat of a parody film or a satire on 50s and 60s monster movies, though. And a lot of those movies are heavy on dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't have a lot of the monster until the payoff.
That's fine.
Shots. So,
But
Okay. All right.
they kind of maybe adhered too much to the formula.
Yeah, but even in old 50s movies, like you'd still have your obligatory scene of, it's like somebody woman sees it, screams, ah, and it's like you still see like the shadow of the monster. Like this, they didn't even bother to like have a victim like look at something off screen and scream and then show their dead bodies. It was just constantly, we found another dead body on the beach.
Right.
And yeah, it was, very light on the action, let's just say. But like with that said, like I didn't detest this movie a lot. Like, I mean, I it's funny because this is the Sasquatch film we've covered.
unintended.
Yeah,
I had no
unintended. Do you remember who picked Suburban Sasquatch? I wonder if it was me. It's second Sasquatch movie we've covered, and while I think that Suburban Sasquatch went like the other way, right? It was just like constant attacks happening, but like everything around that was just absolute bullshit. With this, like I kind of liked the film, sort of. I mean, it's like the acting wasn't completely wretched. It looked like it was shot on like somebody's, like camcorder from 2002.
Right.
It actually had some production design. It had some costume design. It was colorful. It had some songs in it, so it's like it actually was like a film. I do kind of wish that we could have had like a little bit of the production design of something like this, and then like put a little bit more of like there's actually something happening of like
Right.
Suburban Sasquatch. That would have been great. But I don't know, like there was definitely some funny parts in this movie. Like I found myself laughing a few times for sure. But one thing I do want to point out that I thought was funny is like the guy's like the biologist character. And he in the entire film is doing this thing like he's talking from like an old 50s or 60s monster movie.
Right, sure.
He's doing that talking like this, and it's like he's like over explaining
syncopated,
everything, very syncopated, but like nobody else is.
When I was a kid, up until I was 10 years old, my parents would go to the Everglades to look for biological samples to take to their lab at the Research Institute. I'd heard the stories all my life. My parents, well, they treated them like they were fairy tales.
And it makes it really, really funny when everybody else is just acting like they're in a normal B movie and he's actually doing this character. I wonder if the other people even tried, or
I think they were all kind of just playing off of a certain stereotype to a point. I mean, because even like the bumbling cop is a very Barney Fife-ish type.
Right.
Then, of course, you have the quick to violence, sheriff that's not going to take any shit from nobody and no gorilla coming into his town.
Skunk Ape.
Right.
Oh man,
It reminded me not on a quality level, but on a same like approach level to Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Betty, you know what this meteor could mean to science. It could mean actual advances in the field of science.
We're wearing all the inspiration on our sleeve, but we want to put the same amount of love into it.
Yeah.
And I think it pulled. I was not jiving on this movie for like the first third of it, and then it just kind of broke, and I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride on this. This is fun now.
Right.
The moment with the biologist that really tickled me at first was they have that whole scene where he picks up the rock band because their car breaks down, and he picks them up to take them to the mechanic / motel that they can stay at. During that car ride, he explains the entire situation and what he's here for and what he's here to do. And then the next morning, he's at the sheriff's station, and he's like, "How can I help?" and they tell him exactly what to do, which is what he told the girls the night before.
Right.
The car ride.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like, this is just great.
Oh, yeah. There was so many times where it was like literally they'd be like, okay, we're going to this place, and it's like daytime, and then it's nighttime, and then it's daytime again. It was all jumbled up, and it really did feel in a lot of cases like they maybe things fell apart in the editing. And like
well, you can also look at it too, like Ed Wood was also very well known for mixing day and night within the same edit cuts.
Right.
So I don't know if it was intentional or if it was like, this is the footage we got. We have to assemble this in some way.
Well, we could give it that generous read, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I want to give it that generous read because...
Well, they were talking about UFOs, you know, and it's kind of like a Plan 9 type thing. It's like, oh, we've been seeing this activity in the skies. We've been, you know, this skunk ape is hanging around or whatever. That was the same like Plan 9 where the UFOs came and then were rising the dead from the grave.
They come from the bowels of hell, a transformed race of walking dead, zombies guided by a master plan for complete domination of the earth. Plan 9 from outer space.
When they would mention time, and like you said, there was even one scene in the sheriff's office where that the clock did not change time for the entire scene.
Well,
I mean, it's like,
there's actually two scenes like that, and what I appreciated was in both scenes, the clock is frozen.
But
it's
at least
not
they changed it
moving,
at a different time, though.
But it is correct in that it's not like they filmed both of those scenes at one time and then did it at the other and mixed them up in the editing. It's the right time during the right scene, and then it's all at the same time during the second scene, too. Would have been easy to either intentionally or unintentionally screw that up in the editing, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to give it the credit.
Right.
Because there's an incredible amount of attention to detail as far as the time period specific aspect.
Yeah. The suits, the dresses, the vehicles.
The luggage.
Yeah.
The phones, just everything in there. Even in the mechanic shop, I was looking for much more current supplies.
Right.
Or tools, and there wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's awesome.
And that's really, really cool for a movie like this to put that
Well,
much
yeah, I
effort
almost
into
guarantee like the clothing was straight up vintage. I mean, you could tell just by the texture and the color and everything too.
Right.
Yeah.
So whoever they got to do the production design.
I mean, either that or it was just a really good costume designer, that like
and the
was,
lamps
right.
and the dresser.
Because like the suit that the biologist guy wears like seems like too new to probably really be vintage in that good a condition, but like the cut and the tie he's wearing and everything is very, very period appropriate.
Right.
So yeah, it is interesting. But like we were remarking as we were discussing, like you talked about how like on the police car, it was like literally like, letter by letter, obviously picked up at an arts and crafts store or whatever and just like slapped on the side of a vehicle.
But I've seen that in smaller towns.
Okay.
Like
right.
back in like the 70s or something. I remember that.
Right.
That some police
and
cars
this is supposed to be a small town, out somewhere.
Somewheres.
The coast of Georgia.
Coast.
I don't know. I didn't realize that islands off the coast of Georgia, but I don't know.
It was filmed in both Georgia and Florida, which blows my mind that they used more than one location.
I know, right?
But
yeah, because it really looked like it was all on the same. But unless it's like around the border, and like one location is 2 miles away from another, but it's on the other side of the border, because it definitely does look like kind of the Panhandle. Certainly that area for sure. Definitely
by looking at the one beach over and over again.
Yeah,
well, I guess we did see the map.
But there was also the part where they broke down and they were off like kind of in the Evergladesy area. There was a couple of locations. Wasn't a ton, but there was a couple. I did like certain things. Like I just to point out things I liked. I did like there was like the one deputy guy, and it's like after you hear out that the sheriff gets killed, he's like oh darn, and then like he hears somebody else gets killed, he was like, oh gosh.
More than half of this police force has been decimated
right
by the end of this movie, and nobody seems to mind.
He's just like, oh no. So that was really good.
There's a little girl that opens the movie because she apparently fell victim to the gorilla, or her parents fell victim to the gorilla.
Skunk Ape.
Skunk Ape. And she's
Skunk Ape.
And she can't talk. She's muted. She's traumatized by this experience, and she's forgotten about a third of the way into the movie. Once she
never get back to her, do we?
Once she starts screaming "Skunk Ape, Skunk Ape, Skunk Ape,"
that's what other character arc did she need?
Yeah, but like
she did her point.
Parents are dead. Is she just still hanging out in the police station?
Right. No, she's with the doctor. Remember, she's like, I'll make sure that she's okay. I'll take care of her. I'll take her to the psychologist. All that stuff.
Got it. Okay. So, like, have you ever heard the term skunk ape?
Never.
Adam?
Never.
Nope. 46 years. I've never heard that.
Because like we're watching it, and your wife Anne, who watches films with us as well, that our fans of the View and Spew review should know well. She's the power behind the throne here, and we're watching it, and this little girl starts to scream, and she's like, "Skunk Ape, Skunk Ape," and I'm like, "What?"
We didn't even know
I
what
couldn't
she was
understand
saying.
what she was saying, like much less know what that means. But I was like, "What is she screaming?" I can't understand. She's like, "Skunk Ape, Skunk Ape," and then Anne's just like, "Skunk Ape." And then we're like, what? And she's like, "Skunk Ape."
You dumb bastard.
Duh. It's obviously that
we're uncultured shitheads.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, we were all like just absolutely just confounded. We were just completely surprised and taken aback at the ease at which she was like, "It's obviously Skunk Ape." And yeah, sure enough, the next scene they're talking about the Skunk Ape.
So what is a skunk ape?
I mean, apparently it's like a regional, like an Everglades version of Bigfoot, basically.
You have the Yeti, which is
the northern snowy version.
Right, Sasquatch and blah, blah, down the line.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never knew that there was an Everglades version called Skunk Ape.
Skunk Ape, man.
Now we're going to start a band called Skunk Ape.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And how does the skunk ape migrate from the Everglades to...
What did you say?
The Florida-Georgia line.
Yeah, what was the gorilla cane?
Gorilla cane.
Yeah, so like the entire movie, they're talking about this hurricane that's coming, and
we never see.
Like it's not even like breezy,
calm waters.
Like the whole
on the
movie,
beach all the time.
Calm waters, blue, like sunny skies, not even a cloud to be seen in the distance, and they're talking about this hurricane that's coming, and then it's like, and then I love like at the end of the movie that it's like there's like okay. So, like, literally, Skunk Ape, okay. So there's, like, they finally have the party that they've been alluding to the entire time. And then this party is, like, in front of the garage. And there's, like, all of, like, 10 people, like, dancing. And that's their party, right? Which I thought was funny because, like, it was, like, a last-minute thing. He's like, "Hey, will you play my party?" And it's like, what was the party going to be otherwise if they didn't play? Was it going to be you guys just hanging out in front of a garage?
Playing some records.
Right, yeah.
Well, initially it was supposed to be on the beach.
Right, but then
they said that it was closed.
Good point. So they're like performing this song called, was it "Go Gorilla Go" or something? Like, was it?
Go Gorilla.
Go Gorilla, right? Which, as you pointed out, super convenient. Like, super convenient that they have a song in their discography named Go Gorilla.
Right.
And so they do the song, and then of course Skunk Ape is like creeping. He's like in the wings, like backstage, and he's like poking
drawn
his
to the
head
music.
out. Yeah, he's like drawn to the music, and he's poking his head out. And then like eventually like he comes out and he starts dancing in the audience,
That was great.
and they're like what is it? What stinks, And he's like, and then he gets up on stage and he's like waving his arms around and everything. And then like he ends up attacking like the guy Hector, the mechanic guy, and like
/keyboardist.
Right, /keyboardist. And then ends up killing him, and then basically kidnaps the girl lead singer of the band, takes her back to the cave. She had like hurt her ankle. And then basically it's like, oh, the hurricane's coming. Cut to, and then the hurricane's like way over. We never still see a single raindrop or anything. Which she has had her ankle mended by the Skunk Ape. With some like leaves,
wrapped in leaves.
like wrapped in leaves. And then they talk about how the gorilla cane like carried away Skunk Ape, and that's the end of the movie. And so like I'm left with so many more questions than answers. Like I'm like, well, wait a minute, where's the arc here? Like he's like suddenly like he kidnaps her, what, just so he can like mend her ankle, and then like lets her go, and then like Mary Poppins his way up into the sky. Like this was the end that they thought of for Skunk Ape. And then it makes me wonder, like maybe that explains why you don't get like this many like Bigfoot sightings. And it's like because he's just like carried off in the winds all the time, and he gets like dropped into different areas to, I don't know, like murder a bunch of people and then suddenly just become a benefactor and like heal wounds, and then gets carried off on the wind to the next place.
Yes. I wanted more shenanigans.
Yeah.
Or I just needed something to kind of, cut up all that dialogue and then all the three or four different stories that were going on at the same time.
Right.
And specifically, I think there were two main ones. Mm-hmm. There was your biologist, and then there was the lead singer for the band,
right,
that all the boys loved, and Skunk Ape also had an affection for,
who has a hard time getting close to people because she has syphilis.
And maybe
was the song actually called that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it was one of those. What?
Well, and then the girls tried to say, because like they're like, well, she had a bad experience once. Like she ended up with, and then like their other girl like cuts her off.
Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, what is some STD or something? And then she
But see, I thought like she was like a werewolf, or I was like thinking like she would turn into something else, and would have been a monster.
A lot of fun if she was a monster too,
totally.
Or like maybe like she turned into a werewolf that night.
Right, that's what I thought like they were alluding to,
But no, instead...
Maybe in the sequel.
Instead it was syphilis.
Woman.
Right. So it's like she's walking, and I did think this was kind of funny, because she's like walking along on the beach in a movie that like, although has some like diegetic music in it, because they're performing, she like suddenly starts to sing a song about how she has syphilis. And then like, so it's like she's walking down the beach singing her syphilis song, and then like next shot she's got like a guitar, an electric guitar on the beach, not connected to an amp, and she's just like also singing about having syphilis. And then the next shot, it's like the whole band is there, except that like one of the band members,
the other guitarist,
redhead, was it the bass player? Yeah. So the bass player is like clearly not the same actress, and probably I think is actually a dude.
Some dude.
And I kind of, here's what my theory is. I think it's Deputy Bob. Because they have all the people standing behind them, all the deputies.
They show up too. Yeah.
And Bob is not there. and he's like tall and lanky. And so I got the impression that for whatever reason that actress couldn't show up for that day of shooting.
Because she had to get syphilis treatment that day and couldn't make it to the set.
Right. So
ironically,
so
enough.
they put like Bob in a wig and her costume, and it was like, well, you just
stand
be her.
as still as possible,
right?
So that nobody realizes.
Right. Yeah.
it.
So it doesn't draw any attention to the fact that you're a dude in a wig,
and that you're actually jamming out, but you're not moving.
Like, I mean,
all.
I mean, look, they were obviously not playing those instruments like when they were performing, but they at least like moved around a little bit. This person, whoever they were, was just like standing there like a zombie robot or something. And I thought that was pretty remarkable and just very bizarre. And I didn't know if like, because you brought up was it a dream sequence, you know? And it did give like this weird dreamy quality to it because like, well, obviously it was a dream sequence. She wasn't obviously standing there on the beach with all the cast. Yeah. And so it was just really weird to have just one of the people be replaced by somebody else.
Well, and that's when you have something like that, that's in my brain. I was thinking this movie would have serviced better if they had more moments like that.
Yes.
Where there would have been like,
so.
you know, the kind of that fantastical musical sequence every now and
like
again.
Like a dog in a hula skirt, for example. A hula skirt.
Yeah. Or, a grass skirt, I guess you'd call it too.
Instant humor.
Said hulu skirt.
Just add dog and skirt.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously.
Like Frankie Avalon and Marie.
Oh, back to the beach type thing, or beach blanket bingo type stuff.
Ska, man. Where's my ska number, man?
Right.
Exactly.
And I expected that.
That's what I was hoping for.
A lot more of that. I mean, especially when you have this girl rock band in the mid 2000s, which would have been the post ska, post swing, renaissance that happened in the 90s, like
rockabilly,
totally. Or Cherry Poppin' Daddies sort of thing, going on.
A little bit like early Donnas,
right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. I just think that this movie didn't need to be like a monster movie. Like, I mean, I kind of felt that like the movie was succeeding just fine without the presence of like a dude in a gorilla suit. And I don't really think it helped the movie a lot because it didn't really go far enough. And every time that happened, I was like, well, this just kind of feels a little half-baked, Mm-hmm. Like I almost would have preferred it just to be some kind of like, like a Back to the Beach kind of a movie. And if you're going to go with monsters, just like go all the way. Because they obviously weren't afraid of getting zany. They weren't afraid of that. I wish they would have gone further on that.
They were restrained of getting zany a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they only punched it in a couple of scenes. That beach walking scene is the only one that's really surreal.
Yeah,
That felt like the Grease moment of it turning into a musical.
Right.
They needed to really come a little bit more unglued on that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because the writing itself, the dialogue wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It just needed, I don't know, a little punch up.
Yeah, it felt a little lifeless. It just did. It just felt a little lifeless.
And even if you're, like we said before, if you're going to keep with that, approach that of doing like the 50s thing where there are times where they're just like exposition story, blah blah talk
right.
We need something just a little bit more.
Hey, but I'll say this short,
yeah
no, I mean it's
hour
not
and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if I would say, oh my gosh, I really want to watch Monster Beach a Go-Go. I'm itching to watch it again.
But if you are a skunk ape completist, then I would say definitely go for it. If you
does it build new theories on
like the woman you are married to is a skunk ape philosopher, like
and you had no idea.
Then I know. So
that's what keeps a marriage going is you discover new things about your partner.
Exactly.
The band itself, the girl band, wasn't the actual actresses of the band, but it was an actual band that wrote
Catfight.
Catfight.
Yeah.
So I got to give props to Catfight because I did enjoy the songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some more than others. I think some of them were a little bland and off key, but I definitely really liked Go Go Gorilla. I think that was the jam of the film for sure.
The Syphilis song was fantastic.
It was okay.
It's my favorite song about syphilis.
Well, it's true. It's a very good point. Go Go Gorilla is like top 5 songs about gorillas for me.
What's the opening and closing song called again? Something shout. Shout, scream?
The other title of the film.
Right.
It's
shout, scream,
stomp, shout, scream,
stomp,
something
shout,
like
scream.
that.
Yeah,
I dug that too.
Yeah, it's okay.
.com that doesn't exist anymore.
This is like very the 5, 6, 7, 8s. Like this is right around that era too. Like I definitely get the feelings. They're like, yeah, this is it. This is our moment. But yeah, I totally a colorful movie. Like fairly well shot. There's not a single boom mic. I didn't see one boom mic. Not even one.
No.
Gotta give him some credit.
Not even
that.
a shadow of one.
Right. Not even a shadow. Totally.
It is interlaced though, which is annoying as hell to watch. But
it is.
But that's the DVD's fault. That's
right.
not the movie's fault.
Exactly.
Don't hold it against it.
Yep.
It's got a nice animated menu.
Oh yeah, let's call it. Like, definitely want to call out the art too, because like the opening credits and the closing credits
are animated.
They have like animation that's like it's illustration that's like, well, the beginning is animated,
flash animation.
Yeah, exactly, and then the end is just still images, but there are these great little like 60s style caricatures of all the characters that I felt were just really really good, very very period appropriate, and just. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good get.
I can easily recommend this movie, just not passionately.
Yeah, it's better than Baby Ghost.
View and Spew Review.com.
What?
Hello.
Is that an active site?
We totally knew about all that. This was totally
it's been
planned.
active for like a year.
Wow.
But that'll bring you all the way back to, cultfollowing.co.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, for sure.
Why not just,
Yeah, I dig it. Viewandspew.review.com.
Bye. Yeah.
It was all jumbled up, and it really did feel in a lot of cases like they maybe things fell apart in the editing, and like.
Well, you can also look at it too. Like Ed Wood was also very well known for mixing day and night within the same.